Hi, hello everyone. This is Abhishek, your cat buddy. As you know by now that we are doing my first IT job podcast, and we had the opportunity of interviewing individual across IT domain in different aspects. Today, I'm privileged to introduce you my own school friend, at the same time an amazing profession in IT. His name is Arun Kumaraswamy. To give you a little bit of details about the academics, Arun is a phenomenal person in terms of IT and his hard skills. He did his graduation in computer science from Guru Nanak Khalsa College in Mumbai. Then he also did his course in SIDAT for cybersecurity. He has been working for a decade and a half, and currently he's a senior developer with a company called D4T4 based out of Chennai. As what I know about Arun is he's one of, and from the school days, he's one of the most prolific guy or prolific man, as we can say, or a genius in a way of IT. Even in school days, he was phenomenal. I mean, you'll hear some incidents from the school days that I'll tell you while I'm interviewing him. And that what brings joy to my heart is that he is still doing the same thing, what he loved the most in IT. So this is how I look up to Arun, is a person who embraced the IT, who loved the IT, and he's still doing IT. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and watchers, let's give a round of applause and bring onto the stage Arun Kumaran Swamy, who is going to be our guest today, and he's going to take us across his first IT job journey. Arun, thank you so much for joining in today. Okay, so Arun, tell me what was that incident, what was that inspiration, what was that moment that made you realize that information technology or computer is the work or is the profession that you want to choose? What made you realize that?
So I think I got my first computer at fourth standard. My dad surprised me and he bought me a computer. And before that, I used to go to my friend's house and play games and stuff. And it really interested me at its presence in my house, and I was really interested how it works. And there would be a lot of stories like if you eat fruit in front of computer, it will get virus, and it's like how is that possible? Maybe some germs thing. And there used to be a lot of viruses, and there used to be a lot of games. And that games were paid games, but we used to have pirated copies, and how
Correct,
to
correct.
just change the crack file and you can play the games. And it really got me interested in knowing how do you do that? How do you bypass that restriction? That really caused a lot of curiosity, and I started reading here and there. I didn't really read good books. I mean, at that time there was no Amazon or something, so it was a little
Correct.
difficult. But something I will see. I actually bought one book, BB6, and that was not really a good book. It was full documentation itself, and I thought
What was the
maybe
name of the book?
uh, something BB6 beginner's guide, something. And
VB6,
yeah,
Visual Basic 6, like that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it was not a good book. It was
It was not
only
a good book.
there was not one code in that. There was only
Okay.
documentation. And when I read that, I
Okay.
thought maybe programmers will understand. I don't know programming, and that was wrong. So getting to write books is really important. And then yeah, and good at games and computer stuff. Uh, I used to be the go-to guy for any kind of issues in my campus, and they should call me and it's a fixed time, even at the
Absolutely.
hardware level. And at that time,
Yeah.
that thing was budding, wherein you can open the CPU and fix
Correct,
your
correct,
hard
correct.
disk and how a hard disk looks like, and hard disk would fail very fast. But there was this
Mm-hmm.
floppies, and you can buy 10 floppies in that box, and you
Correct,
need, and
correct.
only 1.44 MB is allowed. So if you want to copy games, and there was this WinZip thing. And there's just so many things in these computers you can do, and reinstalling Windows was something I would do probably every week. You know. So so yeah, like those things, it just attracted me quite a bit, and I was not really uh, into other subjects. It's more into games and practicals.
Got
So
it.
yeah,
Got it.
so
Got it. So basically, what you're saying is your introduction to computer starts at the fourth grade, where your father introduced you to the computer, like this is a computer, and then gradually you immersed yourself more into it through gaming and through curiosity. And over a period of time, you became the go-to guy in your colony, in your school, because you're. I remember, by the way, viewers, Arun is my classmate, so I vividly remember one particular incident of Arun being extraordinary in computers those days. When I asked him like how hard disk look like, and the very next day, Arun shows up with a hard disk in his bag, literally a hard disk. Till that moment, I vividly remember I never even saw how the hard disk. Actually, I used to feel it's a hard disk, not a hard disk. So I thought maybe it is shaped like a heart. But Arun brought that in actual box where you give that hard disk. I remember the name. It was Seagate, and he showed us this is what hard disk look like. So Arun was already showing the signs of what we say a great capability when he was already in this school. I'm talking about in ninth standard precisely. This is was Arun. So yeah, absolutely. The curiosity killed the cat. That led you to the computers, and over a period of time, you caught up. So Arun, when you went to the first job, I mean, it's been a long time after the school, of course. I don't know how was your journey. What was the challenges that you came across in your first job as an IT? What were you felt that those were challenging stuff?
So like my first job was Rivendell Softwares, and it was something like it was a purely security oriented company. It was a startup, and actually I was doing Red Hat certification during my college time. At that time, I found one guy who did RHC along with me. His name is Swapnil Meshram. He's a big guy, CISSP and all big certifications, and he actually told me join this company. And I was interested in exploring into open source and also development. And I wanted to improve my career in that. So I got in that, and I got to I got exposed to some really next level stuff like open source security stuff. And I was the only developer at that time. No developers were to come, and then that's how it started. What I was finding it difficult was whatever design decisions I would take, and I was trying to develop a security tool, and I was not able to like have a peer review whether this code is correctly constructed. So I was not aware of that, but then with what I had, I tried to work on that. So yeah, I think first company getting an opportunity is the first objective of any fresher, because without experience you won't generally get opportunity in development. Once you get into that company, you have to survive for 2 years, and you will get some experience in that 2 years. And using that, you can switch to whatever company you want. And I basically was already always investigating on these security things, and so I did the same thing in my first company.
Fantastic. So the first thing you landed up was in cybersecurity, right? And in
Yes,
cybersecurity, you met a guy or met a we can say somebody who's senior, and the challenge that you faced is that the peer review, because when you're interested in open source and then coding, so when you coded, you wanted to get validated. So there is where you felt that hiccup. Am I doing the
yes,
right thing? Am I doing in the right way? Is that the right
yes,
thing to do? So that is where
yes,
you hit the brick wall. How do you
yes.
think today now? Almost this was when in like 2009 10.
2009.
Okay, from 2009 and today you're standing here. What do you think? What you would have done in a different way today if you face the same problem? How you would have handled this facing the same situation?
Actually, today the challenges are a little different. Actually,
Hmm.
the time at 2009, YouTube was not that famous. A lot of video tutorials and Amazon books and all. So getting the materials was absolutely a challenge at that period. Okay. Today, getting materials is not at all a challenge. You have intention to study, you can learn. So today's challenge is how not to get distracted from things like YouTube Shorts or all these things. You start YouTube Shorts 1.5 hours a day. So that is the discipline you need to cultivate today. So the
Right,
challenge is that I won't say because material is there, you're going to do well, but you need to
right,
cultivate that discipline of self-control. And
absolutely,
then the materials are there. And with that, also you have competition, because so
right.
many people have access to
Hmm.
quality materials. So you want to be good at this job. You want to be known as one of the best, and that's how you keep yourself motivated. So today, I would say you have to use, you know, you should have an iron discipline because
Iron discipline.
movies. I used to get distracted with movies a lot, and today also, but I don't have time. So I will study and stuff. So same thing you guys have to do somehow. Drop all the materials. Yeah.
Got it. So you're saying that in today's world, if you face the same problem, you don't need to uh, wait for somebody to validate, because today you have so many sources. But at the same
Yes.
time, the challenge today is different challenge. It is not like those like 10 years back or 15 years back. The challenge today is getting distracted easily because there is so much information overload. There is so
Yes.
much information that you might get even confused, which is the relevant information. As you rightly said about YouTube shorts, you may go with the idea to learn, and then comes a YouTube short, and then you navigate to that short, and then
Yes.
you are there for the next 1.5 hours. And then by the time you realize, you actually forgot for what you went there for.
Yes. And in fact, it happens even today. I'll be working suddenly. I will open YouTube and be like, why did I open this? And I'll be like, "Oh, close it, close it." So it keeps happening. So yeah.
So one of the most important thing today is not to get distracted. So
Yes.
Arun, you talk about so many sources, and today I also said there is so much of information, and a lot of information overload is there. How a newcomer would be able? How can you advise a newcomer to understand what is a legitimate source of knowledge, what they should take and what they should leave? What would be the litmus paper test?
So first of all, if they are getting into IT, okay, and which means they have to know almost everything. Okay. They cannot pick and choose. Of course, they can pick in the terms they want to be in the Java side, then yeah, then forget about .NET. That thing they can do. Otherwise, they still have to study React and JavaScript and CSS. And you should know about Linux fundamentals, and then you should know about networking fundamentals, without which you cannot achieve your objective that is given to you. Your objective will be one simple line that will
Hmm.
expect you to know so many other things as well.
Correct.
Otherwise, gone. So, of course, when a fresher is coming,
Hmm.
today's world, he should have some knowledge of a few things, even in Linux, many complicated things are there. If he doesn't know much, okay, it happens, okay. So then also it is not a impossible task. It is a
Hmm.
mountain to climb, but then you have to keep reading, all right, and you have to start reading. First select, okay, Java is what I want. This is where I want to build my career with. And then you start uh, practicing. Without practicing, you won't get new knowledge. Like you read something, you do some practicals, then you read again, you'll get understanding. Your mind
Correct.
will understand it. Otherwise, it will just go away. No matter how much you read it, it will always be mystery.
Hmm.
So yeah, so somewhere they have to start because of so much knowledge and information in the this thing. What do you say? Internet. You have to set a boundary. For example,
Right.
I just want to learn networking concept. I don't care
Hmm.
about anything else for this
Right.
2 weeks. Forget about everything else. Just to learn about networking concept, something very small. How does a buffered reader work? That's it. Or how does a how to write logic? That's it. I don't care about all these interesting things. There is one saying, all things are lawful, but few things are useful, other things are vain. So everything seems interesting and useful,
Right.
but they are not. At this
Hmm.
point, you need to know something relevant to your challenge. Maybe
Right.
something to do with networking. Learn only that. Maybe you need to understand something about private IP address and public IP address. Learn
Hmm. Hmm.
only that. Just be
Hmm.
good at small things. Today, you can only eat little bit. That much only you eat of the subject. Tomorrow, you worry about will worry about itself tomorrow. So today you have something to worry. Concentrate on that. You put that boundary, then only you will move your mountain, so to speak.
Got it. Got it. So, what you say is that focus on what you want to learn.
Yes.
Don't, I mean, there is so much, as you said, a very beautiful quote, that everything is lawful, but what do you need to learn? Be very specific. And rather than trying to cram everything up in a day or two, Give
Yes.
yourself time.
Yes.
Especially, I love, I really like networking a lot also.
Yes.
As you rightly said, networking itself is an ocean in itself. So
Yes.
try to take few things, like as you rightly said, what is the difference in public and private IP addresses, the buffer flow, the logic, how to write a logic. So take
Yes.
your time and learn that. So Arun, also, if I ask you one question, you said at the start of this question, a few fundamentals that every IT professional should know. So what I recap what you said is Java,
Yes.
and just can you help me to recall that? What were the essential things that you said?
Java and React
Java,
JS and CSS and
React.js,
JavaScript,
CSS, JavaScript,
Linux,
Linux.
Linux,
Okay,
networking.
networking. Those are
Yes.
the five things you're saying that an IT professional or the people who want to get into the IT, if they have five of these, you can survive to start off with.
Do
And
well.
later
They
on,
will do well.
yeah, they will do well, not just
Yes.
survive. So these are
Yeah.
the five things. So let's recap: Java, CSS,
React JS,
React.js,
Linux,
Linux,
networking.
networking essential. Fantastic.
Yes.
So these five things, guys, just whoever the listeners are, I think this is the highlight of the podcast. I would say today's podcast, these are the five essential thing in your toolkit you need to have before you even think of or joining a company. And you'll not just survive, you'll thrive. This is Arun's experience of a decade and a half. And what I know from him is he's really amazing with computers. He has been then, definitely he's now. So Arun, when you started your journey, let's move to another set of questions. Uh, you initially told me you met a guy called Swapnil and he was CISP and stuff like that. Did you got or did you received a beautiful mentors in terms of your work, and what were their roles? If you met few mentors, what was their role in your growth in terms of the mentorship that they offer?
So like I always wanted to be good in software, and
Hmm.
what actually I thought about it and what helped me is, our friend Nina Rufali, right? That guy
Correct.
actually guided me into two really good books when I was in
Yeah.
college.
Hmm.
C++ by Ravichandran, and
Hmm.
another book was Black Book of Java. So
Okay.
that that was like really next level books against what was recommended in college. Balaguru's and complete reference by Herbert Schild by Java. Those two books I didn't really like. But these two books really got me in very short period of time know well
Hmm.
in Java, and that was
Hmm.
before O'Reilly platform or YouTube videos and stuff like that. I think even today
Correct.
it holds the truth. Even today, if they read that book, it's really good, and that's something I have to like address. The good books are really important for you to climb up the ladder. Okay, so you have a proper book, then you will climb up the ladder properly,
Hmm.
and otherwise you'll be like hitting walls here and there because in software, if you try something, if it doesn't work, you can't do anything. It's not like a
Right.
story book
Right.
that you can keep reading ahead. You need to
Right.
understand, then only you can move forward. There's no point.
Right.
I've read a book without understanding just to see what happens, and nothing happens. So you have to like learn and understand also. So
So the
that
books.
guy,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So that guy, and otherwise. Otherwise, yeah, the motivation is like, I used to watch movies like Operation Takedown. There's one actor, Kevin D. McNick, I think 1995 or something. He got caught and he was put in jail in solitary confinement. That's a good movie. I used to get really motivated, wow, these guys are doing something which is not possible, and what the system doesn't allow. And that really gives me a lot of, gave me at that time a lot of juice to hit again and again on this subject of hacking. And the thing is, you need to know the system, and then you will know how it works, and then you will know how we can make it work for our benefit. So you need to know the entire system, then only we can do what we want. Okay, so that requires a lot of in-depth understanding of whatever system. So that keeps me learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So Arun, okay, I'm just want to reset the question. I got it. You gave a very beautiful, like one about the what inspires you. You told what motivated you, and the book that Ninad gave, which of course, can you just recommend? That brings me the next set of question. What are those books that you want the freshers to read when they're entering the IT domain. Like Ninad gave you 2 books. Now today, with your set of
Okay.
experience,
Yeah.
what that list would look like? Would you like to tell the listeners what is that list of the books? One, two, three, four,
Okay.
five.
So yeah, like if you're like getting to learn how logic is formed, I would definitely recommend C++ by Ravichandran. The way it is structured and the way it is taught is really good. You teach a concept, then there are three questions, and you have to work it out. Okay, so that is really beautiful. For Java, maybe there's an updated black book of Java, but there's this book that Java generics and collections. So like, this is like a 2007 book, and that book is absolutely amazing. Like you need to know the generics part of Java. And it was introduced in Java in 1.5. I think it was like 2005 or 6 or something like that. And that is even today used in modern technologies. That concept. For example, TypeScript in JavaScript. It's basically Java generics, and they bring quality, and that's something Java did at that time using some PhD guys and all. So that book, and then there is another book, Effective Java, which is like it is a challenge to read such books. It is full of knowledge and wisdom, and to understand that you need to come up to one level. And I think today people can come up to that level if they can just learn something from YouTube and all. So today I would say go for books like Java generics and collections, and effective Java, and like you're done for Java, like you will know. And there are, of course, design patterns by Head First, which is like really good. Design patterns is something that's a foundation of a software, which will uh, kind of give you a promise that when there is a issues like future issues, changes, or upgrades or something, your software will stay fit. It will stand because the foundation is built on strong fundamentals, solid fundamentals. So design patterns is something that today people should know about, and that is something it's not easy to understand. It takes quite some time to really find the advantage of a design pattern. So that like quite a few things around this. When you know these principles, you can actually work in any software, okay? But you should know these principles so that you can claim to be a good software developer.
Fantastic, Arun. Fantastic. I think this books will do good. Any book on networking would you like to recommend?
For networking, actually, I have a very good recommendation, which is do Cisco Certified Network Associate training. You don't have to
Okay.
give a certification, but the
Hmm.
first half of Cisco Certified Network Associate
Hmm.
gives really good
Hmm.
networking fundamentals clarity. The student will learn like as much as he can in
Hmm.
of networking, everything about networking. The second half is proprietary, wherein you get to configure the switches and the routers and stuff like that. So that is fine, you can do it, but then do Cisco Certified Network Associate. That would be
What
the
is the name
best.
of the course? Cisco
CCNA, Cisco Certified Network
CCMA.
Associate. CCNA. Right.
CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate. Nice. So
Yeah.
with this books and with this course, the first half, if we expect people to go through them, and as
Yes.
you rightly said, some 5 things at the start, like language and networking, that would
Yes.
really shape them up and get them ready and thriving in the IT ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So Arun, tell me one particular incident, maybe a project that you work on, which is you felt that it was like something to be remembered about, like it was so challenging in a way, or it changed the way you looked at things today in IT.
Okay, well, in my previous company, I was into development, developing payment gateway solutions. Okay, and we had a project for a client, and we need to develop a system wherein we can configure any kind of clients, banking clients, and we can do the reconciliation. So we used to do everything, little disorder and stuff like that. So we wanted to develop something order, and and the thing is, you don't get the requirement at the first go. Okay, client keeps adding requirement, adding requirement, adding requirement. That kind of really challenges the way how to design without any knowledge. So finally, what happened was we had like 2 days to give presentation, and it was slow, man. It was really slow, and I was sitting with my son, and like he was like, it's okay, it will happen, it will happen. Like I know it's not gonna happen, but okay. Then there was this 2 holidays. So I thought, okay, now that I have the knowledge of all the requirements, maybe I can develop everything from scratch. I went home. I had this whiteboard, and I started writing. These are SQL procedures. Okay, started writing SQL procedures, and in my mind only I was calculating everything I did, and finally, in 2 days, I got in paper. I didn't touch the system only. In paper only, I wrote everything. Went to the system office, and I tested it. Initially, for one bank, it was taking 1.5 hours. After this, it was for 39 banks, it took 15 seconds. So, and sir, I'm just telling, is anything happening or not? Like, yeah, everything is happening perfectly. So that is something I still today relish, how that was, you know, that software was made.
So you just to rephrase what you said that you're having a client and you have to make a software, and what you guys made, the client was keep on adding requirements, or requirements
Yeah,
was kind of confusing you.
yeah.
And initially, when you deployed it or you gave it to them, it was like, as you said, it was taking a lot of time. It was related to
No, I
banking.
didn't give it to them. We tested it, and
Hmm.
we know it was taking
Tested it.
time. Yeah,
It was taking time. And then you
yeah.
have that when you came back, you wrote those codes SQL and on a piece of paper. I mean, you have your own, let's say, meditations about it, how to do it. And everything was literally on the paper. You go back, you implement that, and the thing is working. What do you say? For 1.5 hour, it took how much time you said?
For
30?
one bank, it was taking something 1.5. I think 45 minutes. Now
Okay.
for 39 banks, it took 15 seconds.
Wow. So
So
what
like,
was what was that like? How did you realize, like, what was that strike in your mind that I think this might work? Is it, it's pure intuition, or it was something else, or you're trying to solve that problem in your mind?
uh, well, first we didn't have a choice. Okay, and
Okay.
second, I recognize the advantage that I have. Now I know
Okay.
what the requirement is perfectly, which
Hmm.
was not known. Second, we did lot of experiments with SQL and everything, so I my knowledge also grown a bit.
Very nice.
So thirdly, this is something like or something that was really like, let's do this and let's see what happens. So there was
Great.
that thing, and
Very nice.
I started writing, and we just
Very
worked.
nice.
I didn't think it would work so well, but
Okay.
this worked like so well, and like, everybody was like,
Of
wow.
course, yeah. Where is
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes and where is
Uh,
15 seconds? I mean, it's
yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah. So,
I think, okay, that brings me to a very natural question. What about the IT industry that keeps you going a decade and a half? You felt still to do it, and going ahead, you want to do it. So, what is that inspiration? What is that drive about IT industry that keeps you going?
so actually, there is a very big advantage to IT industry. Okay, like we
Mm-hmm.
talk about development and stuff. The thing is, your job is secure as long as you are knowledgeable. So it's in your hand. For
Correct.
me, okay, I'm
Mm.
not a very outspoken guy or
Mm.
marketing guy. Not really good at management stuff. Now, with management for me, you have to like, I don't know, be you people pleasers or something like that. Okay, but in software, if the compiler says successful, nobody can say anything. So whether you are earning too much or too less, as long as your compiler is happy, your job is happy. And you are employable. So anywhere you'll get job. Even if you don't get job, you can work on open source and build a profile. So you have somewhere to work and something to work. Like I think we discussed that there is no
Yes.
investment also, right? Buy a system, internet, and you're good to go. You can learn something, you can do something and stuff like that. In
Right.
other in other uh, subjects. I don't know how much it is true. Many subject in many this thing faculties it is not true. Like you really have to have a good rapport with the management, and that's a different challenge. I think the people are having that quality by birth. Okay, so generally people who are in IT or right. not like that, but many people who are not good with human beings will be good at things. So this thing, so you can just do whatever you want and it will work. Also, I think yeah, there's a lot of elements into that. Talk to human being, you might feel bad later on, but you do something in software, nothing happens, and it's just doing very well. So if you are productive enough, you can just really like do really well. At the same time, the rate at which the IT is in at right now is giving headache. Literally, how much to learn, how much to do, and how much to where to stop. Did I get into a wrong profession? Like my dad used to say, go into banking, man. I'm like, no, I want software because I was only good at software. So like it was like that, and I felt I should have been in bank. I would have got a lot of free
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Just want to stop you. By the way, listeners, Arun's father was working with one of the biggest banks in India called NABARD, the National Agricultural Bank, and that's why his father wanted him to be in bank. And his
Yeah,
mother also is a retired government servant. She was in income tax. So of course, parents would have wanted him to be a part of government organization than being in private. So yeah, Arun, please go ahead.
yeah. So I actually desire that pressure. Like I want pressure, and I want to do well. So there has to be a pressure, and there has to be a overcoming. Okay,
Right, right.
so that mindset is important in this field, wherein you have to keep running and running
Absolutely.
and running,
Absolutely.
and you
Absolutely.
have to not give up. And running simply means you have to read something, you have to keep getting better something, not look at others and not
Right.
look at CTC. So yeah, this is something that even now I feel I have done good in the sense to be in this field. Uh, at least I have something to do in the sense, not dependent
Mm,
on market or something. So
mm.
learn and build something, and you're using your time for it. So
Got
yeah,
it. Got it. So what is the one thing that, just to rephrase, that keeps you going in the IT industry is you will be never out of job. You will be never out of work. This is like essential life skills. Once you learn it, it is going to keep you live and kicking for a long time. It's one of the main thing that I got from you. Also at that sometimes is like dealing with human beings can get very complicated. So certain things, if you have not learned as you're growing up, or it was not innately built up in you, as you pointed out, it can get tough. You're dealing with human beings is more complicated than dealing with the technology or with the languages. So it is somewhere you anchor yourself. If you're in IT or coding, or that you'll never be out of job, or even if you are, there are numerous other ways that you can do, or you can get your living. You're not just dependent on that job, because it's a essential life skill. To bring to a perspective, I read, or I know a person, or rather he's a very famous personality, Naval Ravikant, and he also says the same thing. The three things on the planet that gets you to the millionaire, one is, first one he says is coding, and the second is podcasting, and third is something else. So the first one is the coding part. So what you said is clearly ringing the bell. It is going to be something that you're going to live, and you're not going to be dependent. You're not going to get slaved of someone. You don't need to please people, as you
slavery
rightly
is
said.
there. Slavery is there.
Slavery
IT
is there,
means
but
you're a slave.
slavery, but
So
you're
it
no,
is proper
no.
slavery. Okay.
Okay, proper slavery.
Yeah.
But there is no point where, but you anyway, any point of time you can step out. There are numerous opportunities for you, as long as you're
Yeah.
knowledgeable, as you rightly
Yeah. Yeah.
highlighted. As long
Yeah.
as you're knowledgeable, you're pushing yourself hard every
Yes.
day. You have that leverage. You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Arun, we talk about these hard skills throughout our conversation. Now, imagine you're an interviewer and you're going to recruit a fresh candidate in your company. What are the three soft skills, or three things that you're looking at? And look, these are the three soft skills a person has, and Abhishek, I take him or I take her. Can you
Okay.
give me three?
Okay. So I used to take a lot of interviews. Okay. So what I looked for is first whether they are able to write logic. I will give them questions like, write a sorting program. Don't use any utility methods. And if they are able to write, and then I will try to ask them what else they know about, all these other technologies. Even in Java, there are so many things. Object-oriented programming principles are there. So I'll try to see. So basically, what I'm trying to find out is how much they have read, how much they have put their mind into, and and if I see a baseline, okay, this guy can learn and this guy can improve further. He has that logical thinking because he wrote the program, right? Then I will be like whitelisting him, and it's like fine. Uh, Otherwise, also I'll keep taking interview of the same person to find out where he stands and stuff like that. And yeah, I think today because there are so many different technologies I mentioned, right? Literally, companies will say you should know all this. The fresher will not know all this. So they have to like focus on the fundamentals, like writing logic, different types of logic, write programs, build programs, self programs, and stuff like that, and then they can crack some.
Yeah, sure. This one was the hard skill, like you're looking at, right? What are the
Yeah,
soft skills? Soft skills, like example, I wanted to just give me the like
yeah,
communication,
yeah,
team building,
yeah.
speaking, writing, some well. So, what are the three things you look at when you want to hire a person, apart from the hard skills of coding
Okay.
and
Generally, soft skills, communication is something really important in the sense that you should be able to briefly explain what you have done from the morning to the and you should be not be fearful in the sense you should have some level of confidence because in IT, okay, people will not help. Okay, you need to stand on your own. Okay, generally, you want to learn and you want to prove yourself. More than few questions they ask someone, they won't answer. Okay, and so we should have that self-learning capability. Okay, that you can do Google, you can ask your friend something. You sit at home and you're learning, reading some books, and you have to make bring that reputation. Yeah, this kind of something, and that never settles. You have to do that every day. Keep doing yourself and doing. That never stops. So that is a thing that they need to have, which is basically, if I have to say, they should have these two qualities: patience and enduring patience. Okay, patience when things are not working, you feel like I should leave the job because you will feel like you should quit the job. Everybody feels that when they just join the job and they have to be patient. Second is enduring patience. Against all odds, you have to stay and gather all the experience that you can get. I would say cruel experiences. Okay, because corporate is like that. You have to
yeah,
take it to yourself and you have to endure patiently and you have to like don't fight back and stuff, but prove yourself by compiler saying successful. That way, you're hitting directly in the concepts. So nobody will look there.
so
So this is
one,
something
yeah,
important.
yeah. A communication, you should be able to explain basic communication to communicate. For example, what you did throughout the day. That's one thing.
Yes.
B, self-learning, very very important because IT don't have IT coaches waiting for you that you join a company and they're going to coach you.
Yes.
To fetch yourself. You need to have that ability to, as you rightly so, look up to the Google, ask your friends. We don't know how, but you bring it on, like you learn it. And third and fourth, you repeatedly said patience, and fourth is enduring patience, because you're going to have some gruesome incident which is going to test your patience, as you'll have that scratch or itch to leave the job and go.
Yes.
But
Yes.
wherever you go, you're going to ending up in the same soup again. I mean, life is
Yes.
no different there.
Correct.
Companies change, name change, owners change.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you're the same human beings you're meeting, the same kind of challenges you're meeting. So there's a
Yes.
patience, and enduring patience is very important. I would say that that should be the first. Patience
Yeah.
and enduring patience first two,
Yes.
then comes
Yes.
your communication, and then your self learning. Because as long as you're having patience, I think all other things can be taken care of, whether it's communication,
Yes.
whether it's self learning. Patience and
Yes.
enduring patience.
Yes.
Amazing. Coming to the last question of our conversation, one line message, which I generally ask to all my people I interview for the freshers. One message you want to give to the freshers.
Well, one line message for freshers. I will say that you have to prove yourself to be in this field. Things will not be granted to you. it's like you have to force yourself into this IT field to plant your flag and say, yes, I'm in software. So I guess I can put a period after it. Yeah.
So what you meant is there is no sense of entitlement. You don't
Yes.
assume anything. You literally have to force yourself, put your
Yes.
flag to announce that you have arrived and you're done. And all that,
Yes.
just to recap what you said, going
Yes.
back forth, like you, for that, the most important thing is patience and enduring patience. I really love that
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very important, self-learning.
Yes.
And then, there are so many books and there's so much of material to read. And then
Yes.
also you pointed out 5 things, the most important fundamental in your toolkit to understand to enter
Yes.
IT. That also you pointed in Java, CSS, and networking. And you also pointed out the books and also the course, the one course CCNA that people can
Yes.
take up. And one of the
Yes.
most important thing that you said that keep you enduring in all those years is the ability of IT industry, where you are skilled so much that you kind of become, you can be replaced, but at the same time, you can get opportunities like anything, provided
Yeah.
that you have knowledge. You have that
Yes.
knowledge, you have that hunger to learn, because it's an
Yes.
evolving technology. What
Yes.
is there 10 years back may not be valid today. So you need to have
Yes.
that hunger and going. As long
Yes.
as you have this, sure, you'll not just survive, but you'll thrive in the IT domain or IT industry.
Yes.
So yeah, I think this is what I sum up. And in 2 words, if I want to sum up the today's conversation is patience and then enduring patience.
Yes. Yes.
So
Correct.
Arun, thank you very much. Despite your schedule and your meetings at work, you still provided your time for our students, for our listeners, for our people who are watching today. And I'm telling you, it was so deep on technical. Today's interview was
Yeah.
more on what should be done, what should be in that toolkit. And I'm really happy as a person to myself understand what things to be done. Also, at the same time, for the listeners, this is so much a big input, because you have spent a decade and a half doing this and dabbling at times where information was not freely available. Today, at the time where information is available everywhere and you do not know which is relevant, which is irrelevant.
Yes. Correct.
Thank you so much, Arun, for your time today.
Thank you, Abhishek, for having me in this channel.
No problem. We'll come back maybe in the next time, next episode, something new that we do. We definitely want to hear from you more on, maybe we want to dwell specifically on the technical aspect of your experience, maybe Java or something. But for this today's conversation, for the first ID job, this was amazing. So thank you so much, Arun. And yeah, wishing you all the best through your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you.